Hello, welcome back to another round of Developer Q&A. My name's David. I'm a software developer with over 20 years of experience. I've also managed international recruitment teams. In this series, I answer your questions about careers in tech. If you would like to ask me a question, there is a link down in the description and I will answer your question as soon as possible. So today's question: I am a CSE graduate and working in software industry for 3+ years as a mobile app developer. Boom. I live in Bangladesh. Could you suggest to me how I can get a remote job in Europe or America? Great question, and a very popular question. So remote work is probably the most sought after thing right now. So there are a few rules around this. These rules can be broken, of course. But most people are looking for usually a wage in a country that provides a better salary or a better currency than they're currently in. This is most common. So one thing to remember is companies are still quite nervous about the remote thing. You'd think they'd be over it by now, but they're not. So they're still quite nervous about it, and they tend to firstly prioritise applicants that are in their own country. Secondly, even if they're remote. Secondly, they're going to go quite close to their original time zone. So whilst you can find great developers around the globe, believe me, there is a definite prioritisation of someone who's close to the original working time zone of the company. So someone in Bangladesh trying to get a job in the US is more difficult. It would be more simple in Europe. Now, you can go and work through some of these agencies that send you out there. If you've got 3+ years of experience, you're probably at that sweet point that they're looking for. Places like Arc.dev, Xteam, G2I, all these companies that are hiring remote developers, they are places that kind of blur the line between contract employment and full-time employment, and they farm you out to their clients. So that's worth a look. But like I say, that they're quite popular places to work, so everyone's applying. You need a profile that showcases your 3+ years and sells it in the right way. And if only there was a place you could go to get a better profile. Right? So what else have I got to say about it? So if you're not going through one of these agencies, and you can do it without it, then you need to be certainly being proactive and applying directly. So recruiters are probably not going to be the way to go. I think you're going to need to be finding companies via LinkedIn, or via any means actually, companies that do already hire remote software developers, and then going to that company directly and saying you want to be considered for a position. But again, you need to have your profile in order. You need to have supporting evidence of all the, those 3+ years that you've got. What have you got to show for it? Can you demonstrate not just that you can build things, but what technologies do you know? What technologies are you learning? Where can we see evidence of that? So like I say, start with that. But certainly if you're looking from Bangladesh, I would start, or I'd prioritise my search towards Europe. I think that's more likely. In terms of for US, they are going to prioritise Latin America. You still do get people hired in Europe, but the further you're getting away from that time zone, the more difficult it's going to be. The last point I'm going to mention on this is every December I recreate my course with all the new content. It kind of comes from all the questions that you guys asked me. So this December will be no different. I'm recreating the whole course, and there's going to be a large portion of this about going remote. I had initially thought I was going to do this as a separate course or a separate book, but I think I'm going to build this into the same course now, because the mantra, the philosophy that I teach is the same whether you're a junior developer, mid-level or senior. The problems are actually always the same. And then if you go remote, I've also got experience of that because I've ran 3 remote talent acquisition teams. So I'm going to put a lot of work into showcasing how people can actually start to go remote, how they can target these remote companies. So I hope that helps as well. Thank you very much for your question. And if anyone else has got a question, visit the Crushing.digital website and submit your question there. And I'll see you next time. Take it easy.